Okay, we are here today to talk about pot and pot cooking in the Instant Pot. It is a basic pressure cooking skill that will really help you expand what you can do with this little machine.
So some of the reasons that you might want to cook pot and pot.
Cheesecake! Anytime you use where all your ingredients are incorporated into a different pan, whether it's a springform pan for cheesecake or this is just a 7 by 3 inch round cake pan. As you can tell, it's gotten a lot of love in my kitchen. We use it several times a week. My kids don't like spaghetti sauce to touch their noodles, so we'll make the sauce in the pan and their noodles will remain sauceless in the pot.
That's awesome. You'll always want to use a trivet when you're cooking pot and pot. This one is taller. It's got some tall legs, which is nice. If you have something cooking underneath, and then you can put a pan on top.
Or this is kind of the trivet, the rack, goes by different names, that will come with your pressure cooker. Most pressure cooker models and brands will include a low trivet. So.
And if it wasn't included with yours, it's fairly inexpensive on Amazon.
Bucks,
yeah, $5 or something.
Yeah. So I'm Jen.
And I'm Barbara.
And we're with Pressure Cooking Today. So we're going to talk first about the first kind of pot and pot cooking, which is where you suspend your all of your food above a liquid, so usually water or a broth. If you're using a steamer basket, that's when it makes sense to use a broth or a flavorful liquid, whereas if none of that flavor is going to go through your pan, then just use water. So for this first type of pot and pot cooking with your pot suspended above your liquid, you want to make sure always that first thing you do is you put your liquid in the pot. I can't tell you the number of times when I've gone to pot and pot cook and I run it through the cycle and nothing happens, and it's because I forgot to put the water in the cooking pot of the pressure cooker.
So even though you might have liquid ingredients in your inner pot, in your pot and pot,
yes,
you still need water inside this inner pot in order for it to come to pressure.
Yes. So generally most 6-quart Instant Pots, most 6-quart brands in general, 1 cup of water is the minimum, and that's usually what we default to when we're cooking pot and pot. If we are making a big amount that's going to be in there for a long time, like I love to use this to reheat leftovers. And so if I'm making a big, like reheating a big pot of leftover soup, you can use your, you can buy a 3-quart Instant Pot mini pot.
The insert fits right inside a 6-quart, so that's really handy.
Kind of the deepest pot you can get to cook pot and pot with.
But you'll want to use a trivet every time.
Yep. So we've got, when we're making like a rice or something, I generally use the short one. Cheesecake, I'll use the shorter one, and then just balance the pot on top. Sometimes, like this one, sometimes these pots come with handles that you can just fold right under, put it in, and then you can lower your pot down. Now you notice when you put the pot in without something, it's tricky to get out. So that's where you would use a sling. There are multiple different kinds of slings you can buy. These are little, I don't even know what they're called, little rubber bands.
Yeah.
And you can just slide it around your pot, and it lifts it just fine. OXO and Instant Pot both have a version of this where it's a trivet on the bottom, and you just place your pan right on top, and you can fold it together.
We really like this one because it locks the handles up on top, makes it easy to grab and get in and out.
And when you use one like this, you don't need to also use the metal rack that comes.
This counts as a trivet, so it's all in one. That's nice.
For quicker cooking foods, sometimes the silicone, because it's much thicker than this metal one, it can affect the cook time and you need to add another minute or more. But that's rare. Usually the cook time stays exactly the same no matter what you use. But if you want to cook pot and pot and you don't have a sling, you can make your own. We just have a handy dandy strip of aluminum foil that we folded into thirds, and you just rest your
pot pan
on it, and then let's put that trivet back in there. And you just use this to lift your pot up, put it down. Now you want to make sure when you're using the foil method that you don't leave these this way, because if they're folded over the sides of the pot, your pot will have the steam will leak out the sides and it won't come to pressure. So always just kind of fold them in towards your food so it doesn't interfere with the lid closing in any way.
Yeah. So you don't have to use a big pan like this. You can also use, one of our favorite is canning jars.
Yep.
They do really well in the pressure cooker.
Yep. When you put them in, you can either cook them without the lid on at all, or you can put the lid on finger tight, but not like screwed on super tight. You want to leave them a little bit loose. For the most part, I usually cook with the lids off.
So Jen, when she made our baby food cookbook, she used this method to cook different vegetables. Yeah. So she could feed her little daughter.
Yep. Frozen veggies, so like frozen peas, frozen carrots, they all cook about the exact same time in the Instant Pot. But heaven forbid you mix them when they're first starting out, so you could just fill them up with broccoli or fill them up with the different veggies and then cook them for the same amount of time. It also works great for fruits if you're making a number of different fruit, what are they called? Compotes? Compotes. You can put like raspberries and strawberries or blackberries or whatever. I usually keep to berries, the frozen berries.
Yeah, and then you can, once these are pressure cooked, you can use an immersion blender and blend them up right in the jar, so that's really convenient.
You have to have the wide mouth version to use it in the blender. So you have immersion blender like that. And then we have a number of recipes for these little itty bitty cheesecakes. They're little, what, 2-ounce mason jars. And they're so cute. So to make these, you can fit 6 to a rack. I'll show you.
I think they're little 4-ounce.
Are they 4-ounce jars? Okay. They're itty bitty. They make just the right amount of cheesecake that you can have a whole jar to yourself, and sometimes 2 or 3 jars if you want. Okay, and then you would just take another small trivet and you would put it in as well. If you don't have a small trivet, you can use your tall trivet just turned upside down. And then you can layer another 6 jars on top. So you get 12 servings of little mini cheesecakes.
Right, and you can freeze them if you're not going to eat them all and just take one out. But if you have a crowd, it's really a fun way to serve cheesecake. And the people can use whatever topping they like and do like a little cheesecake bar. It's fun.
We have a number of recipes on our site for that because we love cheesecake. But no matter how, once you have your filled jars in there, you just lock the lid in place and cook according to the recipe.
So that is the first way of pot and pot cooking, and the second method we use a lot too.
That is where you're cooking food on the bottom of your cooking pot, and then you put your tall trivet in. So you've got like chicken breasts or diced chicken cooking on the bottom of your pot, and you put a tall trivet in, and then you use your pot and pot method to cook like the rice that would be a side, or a veggie side, or spaghetti and pasta sauce, so they don't touch, so everyone is happy at your house kind of method. So we are going to demo this with our cheesy chicken and broccoli video. We have, you'll be able to view that video elsewhere if you want to see the complete step-by-step, but we're going to show you how you put the ingredients together and then how you cook pot and pot with that. So we'll be right back. All right, so we are at the point where we have finished cooking the items in the lower pot. We've got our chicken and our chicken broth down low, and notice there's more than a cup of liquid down in the lower pot, so it will be able to build to pressure. And then we have our white rice and water in this cake pan that we're going to use as our pot and pot. So
go ahead and put in the taller trivet.
And you want to make sure you've got all 3 legs firmly on the bottom of the cooking pot.
Then you'll use a sling to put in your pan.
Yep. So I'll just pick it up like this and let it go. There you go. And then just fold these out of the way to make sure that your pot can close and can lock in place without any interference from the sling. Lock that in place. One of the things that's really nice about cooking diced chicken and white rice together is that their cooking times work really, really well together. So a 4-minute cook time for the chicken matches well with our 3 to 4 minute cook time for the white rice.
And you'll need to do a natural pressure release for 10 minutes because the rice needs time to steam to get fluffy.
And so your recipe might call for a 5-minute quick release on the chicken if you wanted to, but it will be just fine doing the extra time to make the rice be its full fluffiness and a nice tender bite.
So that's all there is to doing pot and pot with 2 levels of cooking. It's an excellent way to get a full meal out of one pot.
Yeah, it saves you time. So this is one of my go-to methods. We use it all the time in my kitchen, and I hope that you have great success using it in yours.
And for more tips and recipes,
be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about this, be sure to leave us a comment down low and we'll make sure to get back to you. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.